and then multiply our formula. X minus average squared. This is x minus x average squared. You can just calculate the x average value. It's not a problem as well. So x, don't forget about equal sign, x minus x average, fix x average, squared expression. These values we will determine later according to these formulas. We have the basic calculations required for our next steps. So, what have we to do now? Now we have to do the now we have to estimate the parameters of linear regression, the delta A and delta B. Delta A and delta B. How to calculate these values? The delta A values is calculated by this formula, where TAK is the student criterion, is the calculated student criterion. This is this value. Sigma A is this value. So we can calculate the value of delta A without any problems. Delta A. Okay. So let's analyze. TAK, this cell. Okay, it's good. Then multiplied by sum of these different squares. Analyze summa, sum. Okay. Then denominator 13 n minus 2, 13 multiplied by the square root of these values. Square root of x minus x average summarized squared. So we have a little value. We have already determined the delta A value. Be attentive with these formulas and inputting this formula into cell. So we have already calculated the delta A value. Then we calculate the delta B value. To determine the delta B value, we have to estimate the S value. S value is calculated by this formula. This formula looks like the mean square deviation, but in denominator we have the summary value of difference squared y values and capital Y values. So we determine the square root of sum of the differences between y and capital Y squared values. We have already determined these differences. So we just input the sum of these differences and divide it by 13. And we have the S value. Delta B value is determined by this formula. We substitute the S into the formula multiplied by the student criterion as well, and multiplied by the sum of the x squared values. The x squared values are already calculated and divided by the 13 n minus 2 multiplied by the sum of squared xi minus average values, these values. So we have already calculated the a and b values, and we can say that a may vary the a value may vary in the confidence interval between a minus delta a and a plus delta a, as well as b. It can vary within the interval b minus delta b and b plus delta b. And now we have to determine the delta capital Y values, the confidence interval of our function. How to do it? This value is calculated by this formula. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of this formula. What have we to know? We have to know the A, the T criterion, the student's criterion, we know it, and we have to calculate the sigma value. Sigma value is determined by this expression. We know the S value, we know this value, and we know these values. So we can fill this table without any problems. So let's do it. Student's criterion, fix this cell multiplied by S, fix the S value multiplied by square root divided by 15 plus parenthesis x sub y, parenthesis just this difference